Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This video is for all the content creators or aspiring content creators out there who are interested in knowing how I went from 15,000 followers to a whopping 300,000 Instagram followers in just 3 months. I'm going to share with you all the steps I took to do this and share some of my personal recommendations on how to grow your account in 2023. I do want to point out that these are the steps that I personally took to get to where I am today. So this is definitely not a one-size-fits-all approach. Also, this video is just going to be a simple overview of what I did. If any of you would like me to go more in depth on any of these steps, feel free to let me know in the comments below. With that being said, let's get right into it. Alright, so the very first thing I did was find my niche and brand identity. When I first started my account back in 2021, I immediately knew that I wanted to share my outfits, style, and tattoos with my followers, ultimately giving outfit and tattoo inspiration. But before I started creating content on this account, I asked myself the following questions. How do I want to portray myself on social media? What is my aesthetic going to look like? What type of outfits/style am I going to showcase? How am I going to present my outfits and tattoos? And so on. With these questions in mind, I wanted to figure out specifically what type of style I wanted to share. I eventually narrowed it down to neutral fashion with an edgy twist while showcasing my tattoos that would complement well with the outfits. In my opinion, narrowing down within your niche will help Instagram match you with the right audience that will be highly engaged with your content in the long term. I then adapted and experimented with trends while staying in the loop for Instagram updates. When I first started posting in 2021, I noticed that my photos of outfits and close-up shots of tattoos were doing well, but I slowly shifted to posting more outfit reels when Instagram had announced that they would be prioritizing reels over photos. So I experimented with different variations of settings and edits that I thought at the time fit my overall style and aesthetic. For example, I used to post a lot of streetwear reels as well as simple outfits showcased indoors. But then I eventually found that following along with the Get Ready With Me trend on Instagram was the best kind of fit for my style and aesthetic. Once I started posting more and more of this type of content, over time I noticed that my followers were way more engaged with this type of content than any other content that I've posted on my Instagram. By the way, to stay in the loop for Instagram updates, I recommend following the following accounts. One account is @Mosseri. He is currently the head of Instagram and he constantly posts updates on the latest features. And I also recommend following the official creators account on Instagram. This account uploads helpful trends within the creator community and it's literally uploaded by Instagram themselves. So staying in the loop with Instagram trends and continuously trying out different variations of edits within your niche will eventually lead you to your own style and preference of content that works the best for you. Next up, I studied other successful content creators within my niche. Once I started to post more Get Ready With Me reels, I decided to check out similar content from other creators to gain more insight, inspiration, and to simply just compare. I would check out the Explore page and find similar content creators who were posting Get Ready With Me content. I would pick a handful of them and made sure that they all had at least over 50,000 followers. Then I looked through each and every one of their feeds and asked myself the following questions. What exactly is this creator doing to get X amount of likes and views? Are they using higher quality equipment? How exactly are they editing their reels? What kind of edits are they implementing? How often are they posting? And so on. I kept in mind what kind of camera angles they were using, how they were editing their reels, what types of trends and outfits they were showcasing, etc. But the most important question that I asked myself while I was studying their content was, what is this creator doing to set themselves apart from every other creator? In my opinion, this question is super important because there are billions of users who are on Instagram consuming content, and there are millions of creators out there that are probably doing the exact same thing that you're doing on Instagram. So what exactly is your key differentiator that will set you apart from everyone else? At the end of the day, every creator is competing for the user's attention, so it's really important to figure out what sets you apart from everyone else. As I answered these questions, it really gave me a better understanding on what exactly I need to work and focus on in order to progress and grow as a content creator. I just want to add that I'm not telling you to copy these content creators directly. Obviously, don't do that. The key is to not copy the content creators directly, but to use their content as inspiration. Use their content as a base, but definitely incorporate your own style and flair to your content. The next step that I did is one of the most important steps, and that is improving my content incrementally. Initially, like many other struggling content creators, I used to blame the algorithm and made a ton of excuses for the lack of growth. I remember being so stubborn and not wanting to listen to feedback, even though deep down I knew that this feedback was going to help me. And a term coined for this idea is called cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is an internal conflict that occurs in a person when they hold two conflicting beliefs simultaneously. For example, smoking is generally known to be harmful, yet people continue to smoke despite this knowledge. So this can easily be applied to content creation. Even though I knew that deep down I should probably improve my content to grow, I still chose to not do it despite knowing that it would help me in the long run, and that led me to constantly blame the algorithm instead. I'll admit that I was guilty of this. As the famous Mr. Beast once said, every time you say the word algorithm, just replace it with the word audience. The algorithm didn't like that video? No, the audience didn't like that video. Once I stopped being stubborn and eventually swallowed the hard pill that my content just sucked, I took a step back and finally realized that my content just needed improvement in order to gain the reach and engagement it rightfully deserved. I listened to feedback, invested in higher quality equipment, improved my editing. To help get the higher quality equipment, I reinvested the money that I earned from previous brand sponsorships through Instagram right back into my content creation. So far, in my opinion, the two most important things that you can do to grow your social media is to constantly improve your content and to stay consistent. Consistency is key. I cannot stress this enough. Many content creators will wonder why they're not growing when in reality they're posting 1 or 2 times a week. I'm sorry, but in my opinion, posting 1 to 2 times is just not enough. In my opinion, the only way that you're going to get away with growing while posting 1 or 2 times a week is if your editing is insanely good or if your content is providing a lot of valuable information. Other than that, you're most likely not going to be able to grow as much as you think you are with that type of posting frequency. I learned that posting daily while improving my content incrementally led me to where I am today. To give a little more background info, before my growth spurt, I was still posting daily, but I was alternating between reels and photos. So for example, on Monday, I'd post a reel, Tuesday, I'd post a photo. But once I hit a spike of over 60,000 followers, I decided to post a reel daily just to keep that momentum going while incrementally improving the reels and haven't stopped since. It's important to put in the work consistently if you want to see optimal results. Even with a full-time day job, I was still able to create content and post daily. If you guys are interested in learning more on how I was able to do that, feel free to comment below and I can definitely share some tips in the next video. I also didn't limit myself to just Instagram. I learned the power of utilizing all social media platforms to expand my reach and audience. Honestly, I will never understand why content creators choose to not post on other social media platforms if their goal is to grow. In my opinion, it is one of the easiest things you can do to expand your audience and reach. TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter have their own unique audiences, so I would purposely repost all of my content on there. I also noticed that posting the exact same video on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram all bring in different results. For example, this reel that I posted on Instagram got this amount of views, while the same video received almost 1 million views on YouTube. Another great example is this TikTok video that got this amount of views, but received almost 30 million views on Instagram. So reposting on different platforms can help drive new audiences to your Instagram, or it can lead you to an even bigger following on those platforms instead of Instagram. Next up, I'm going to go over some extra steps that I took that may have not necessarily made a huge impact to my growth, but are still worth mentioning in this video. For the first one, I constantly engaged with my followers and other fellow content creators in my niche. I spent at least 20 minutes a day engaging with my followers, responding back to their comments, and showing appreciation to any support that I received. I would also find similar content creators within my niche and would like and comment on their most recent posts. 9 times out of 10, they would reciprocate and they would like and comment on my most recent posts. This is great because doing this consistently can lead to other content creators as well as your own followers to shout you out on their stories without you having to ask. This could lead to more reach and engagement, ultimately boosting your visibility to new users. To further engage with my followers and fellow content creators, I would also include Q&A stickers and polls on my stories to understand what my followers wanted to see more of. It's important to listen to the feedback from your followers and to keep a steady line of communication with them. And trust me, they will be 100% honest with what they want to see more of. Another extra step is to use hashtags. I think by now every Instagram user knows hashtags and they definitely do bring new audiences to your page, but I wouldn't fully rely on hashtags. In my opinion, I don't think hashtags are going to be your #1 main source of growth, but I do think they're worth including on every post. Using hashtags is great for specific audiences to find your content. I personally prefer using a combination of broad and niche specific hashtags that directly relate to my content. And Instagram does show the amount of times a hashtag has been used. An example of a niche specific hashtag would be something like summer outfit ideas, because this type of hashtag is only used this amount of times, whereas a broader hashtag like fashion or style would be used this amount of times. So I would use a mix of these hashtags to diversify them. And as of right now, I only use 5 hashtags, and I chose that amount because Instagram literally tells you to only use 5 hashtags. As mentioned previously, if you follow Maseri or creators, they do mention these helpful updates. So once again, I recommend that you follow those accounts to stay in the loop. And last but certainly not least, I paid attention to the presentation of my feed and stories. In my opinion, curating your feed to make it more aesthetically pleasing to the eye will definitely attract more users. The presentation of your feed is a direct representation of your brand, which ties in perfectly with the very first step of this video. I personally use third-party apps to curate my feed, and I also use them to get aesthetic templates for my Instagram stories. The first impression that you make to your audience is super important and will be one of the main deciding factors of whether or not a user will follow your Instagram. And there you have it. These are all of the steps that I took to grow my following from 15,000 to 300,000 in just 3 months. So the key takeaways to this video is to find your niche, adapt and experiment with trends, study the content from other successful creators, improve your content incrementally, stay consistent, and leverage other social media platforms. If you have any specific questions relating to content creation, or if you'd like me to go into further detail on any of the steps listed, feel free to comment below. You know the drill. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe to more content. I would love to share more content creation tips as well as share my social media journey on this channel, so stay tuned. Until next time, take care.